He's going, I wish it was a penguin.
I wish it was a penguin and not married with 4 children.
4.
I don't know. I just imagine suburban dads hate themselves. Like it's a barometer, or it's a scale of the more kids you have, the more you want to kill yourself.
I agree. And I think 1 is too many. Mm-hmm. But also too little. I think if you have 1 kid...
You need half a child.
No. So you gotta, like, wheel him around and stuff. And then it's just, like, he doesn't move out. It's just, you deal with that for life. Goodbye date nights. Oh, he's screaming again. I gotta go pick him up off the floor.
Jesus. Jesus Christ.
Prop him up on some pillows. Make sure his shit bucket's not full.
Why are you still going?
Because I'm imagining the life, and I'm like, I'd be like, one day we're taking him out on a day trip, and I see that C train coming, and I'm like, well, if I put him in front of it, I'm doing 25 to life, so I guess I'm turning to goo.
Jesus.
I hope he forgives me.
So yeah, do you want some kind of caffeine? We might have some bottled tea or something.
Bottled tea?
Yeah, like one of those Lipton, like it's like half tea, half lemonade or something.
Oh, I don't like lemonade.
Okay.
It's okay. I'll power through.
Okay.
You just might get more of that. I go into a fugue state.
My freaky elephant man child.
Dude, I've thought about it. Not about killing my children. Killing myself. I had a friend who's a nurse, and I asked if there was a conditional do not resuscitate. Because I don't want a DNR. I want a please resuscitate me. Unless I'm going to wake up quadriplegic.
Yeah, I think there is.
There's not.
Really? There's no conditional?
She was telling me, she's like, not that she knew of. And she was like, a lot of times we don't know the condition you're going to wake up in. So it's hard to tell if you're going to be quadriplegic.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, well, if you know the spine is severed, just like lethal inject me.
With a bullet.
Yeah, or like just,
Yeah.
put a pillow over me and send me to sleep.
If I start fighting back, I'm not paralyzed.
That's a good point. My fight or flight kicks in and my spine fixes. But like paraplegic, I just wheel myself into traffic or something. But like I could
paraplegic, I can do it myself.
Yeah, like I can figure out if I want to. Like I'm like, nope, this sucks as much as I thought it did. Away I go. Because I'm losing so much if I'm in a wheelchair forever. Ugh, all right. I don't remember where we were.
I don't remember what we're recording. We just kind of hit go.
Welcome to another episode of KAFM. Let's kill all film majors. I'm John, and that's
Duncan.
And you don't remember what movies we watched.
I remember the movies we watched. I don't remember what we're talking about for this one.
What? We watched... So this one is The Accountant and The Predator.
Did we already do the other box office bomb squad, or am I...
Yeah.
We did both of them?
Yeah.
We talked about challengers?
Yeah.
100% I thought that's what we were recording today.
No, that's in the can.
Yeah, The Accountant and The Predator, this was a double feature set up by John. Do you want to tell them why?
Both these movies are about autism being the next step in human evolution. Or at the very least, autism making you super good at things. But not in like a Rain Man way where it's like he's good in other ways. In more like you're fucking Superman if you're autistic.
These movies were cool, I'm not gonna lie.
They're not the worst.
After so much hit and miss with Goodwill Grab Bag, being able to... Because like I had seen The Predator before.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard of The Accountant, and it's one of those things. I think my dad got it for like $5 on Blu-ray at a bin from Walmart.
It's a dad movie.
It's a dad movie.
It would play on TNT constantly.
So your dad saw it with commercial breaks. My dad saw it for $5 in the Walmart pit.
Exactly.
So it was great being able to go in confidently and just say, at the very least, they shoot guns. That's all I need. Which one do you want to talk about first?
The Accountant.
Okay.
Because we generally do whichever one we watched first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we did. The Accountant stars Ben Affleck in 2016 as a mathematician with, I don't want to say severe autism, but like the whole point is like he's autism. They're very explicit. Like it dictates his life.
Yeah, he's very heavily on the spectrum, and there are flashbacks about like him as a child unable to operate, and they didn't really have the language for it when Ben Affleck would have been a kid.
And that's where this movie opens, and I've got a confession to make. So this movie opens with Ben Affleck as a child.
You didn't know autism was real.
And I was like, it's just unbelievable. They don't make people like this. No, and it's him as a child, and he's doing a puzzle, and his parents are in the other room talking to some sort of like therapist or like child autism expert, basically talking about how he's gonna need help, and he's gonna need possibly to stay at this area, this like home for autistic kids over the summer, like a summer camp.
It was like a specialty school. Like this guy took a huge cabin and renovated it with small classrooms. There, yeah, it felt like a summer camp, I guess you'd put it, but it also felt like this could be an all year round thing.
I'm just saying summer camp because the therapist line is like he could stay with us over the summer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then in the other room, Ben Affleck as a child, his character, is like doing the puzzle, and he's got a brother who's hanging out there just kind of watching him. And then there's another autistic kid having like a kind of a full-on meltdown sort of thing, some sort of sensory issue, doesn't want to wear her shoes. And this is my confession, and I'm going to confess it because I was laughing. Not full-heartedly, but it was just, there was something about the way it was cutting where it's this very serious conversation, and then we just keep cutting back to this unnamed woman going, put on your shoes, put on your shoes, and then just going, okay, you don't have to wear your shoes, as he's just doing this puzzle.
Yeah.
And then he loses a puzzle piece, and he just starts having a full freak out going, I need to finish, and not a single adult is helping them or anything. They're all in the other room just arguing about whether or not he's actually autistic as he's just screaming about his puzzle.
I have a confession to make about the scene as well. I have never felt more seen by a movie. Look at all these puzzles.
Yeah.
Have you not seen how often I wear socks? I have like sensory issues with my feet.
So I didn't know any of that. But this is why I'm bringing this up. Because I want to give this movie points.
Yeah.
Because after that scene, or during that scene, his brother finds the puzzle piece that he lost. Mm-hmm. Or no, his brother doesn't find it. The autistic girl having sensory issues finds it and hands it to him. And he takes the piece, and as he's taking it, his father's in the other room saying he won't let his son stay at the autism school or camp or whatever, because he's like, if bright lights and loud noises scare him, he needs to be around more of them, not less, because the life he's gonna have, like, life isn't soft, so he's gonna run into this shit. I want to harden him up. And it's setting up that the dad's kind of a little, like, not super.
It felt like a very dad response. It felt natural and it felt real.
Yeah, and he's like an army dad, they mentioned.
Yeah.
And so, like, Ben Affleck already doesn't have stability in his life. But as he's doing that speech, you see Ben Affleck calming down from the I can't finish the puzzle sort of. I'm going to call them freakouts because I don't really. What is the term? Anyway, episode. And he takes the puzzle piece and he puts it into the puzzle. And it's the first time you see the puzzle he was making. And it's completely gray because he's building the puzzle upside down because he's just building it with the pieces. And as he clicks in that last piece, we cut to below the glass coffee table he's building it on. And it's Muhammad Ali in the most famous photo of him when he gets that knocked out and he becomes heavyweight champion and he clicks it in. And you immediately get what the movie's about. It's about that getting knocked down. It's about that recovery. It's about shocking the world and being the unassuming champion. And I was like, oh shit. I was kind of laughing a little bit. I thought the editing was funny or whatever.
Yeah.
I felt like a piece of shit for a second. In the opening 5 minutes of the movie, I felt like the asshole because I laughed at the editing instead of, and the movie goes, no, he's going to be fucking somebody. All right. You're laughing at these kids having their little episodes or whatever like that. And it's exactly the same as the opening to Rocky in reverse. Where the opening to Rocky is a fade in on Jesus. Then it pans down to the Resurrection Gym, and then it's Rocky in the boxing match.
Yeah.
And I was like, you motherfuckers did that in reverse. That was smart. You're talking about a resurrection. I respect it.
This movie surprised me because it feels like... Do we know if this movie went to theater?
It did.
It did? Okay, so I was going to put this on the same level as Hypnotic. Another Ben Affleck, did this go to theaters, question mark kind of movie. We know it did because we saw it in theaters.
We did. We sat next to each other going, why the fuck are we in this room? We paid AMC prices for that too.
We paid AMC
like $16.50.
We paid AMC prices, and I think there was another person we were with. I think they fell asleep at one point.
I think so. Hypnosis.
No, so I was ready to kind of like chalk this one up as, oh, it's, going to be generic action schlock. The one selling point is that, there's autistic representation in movies. This movie was a lot smarter than I gave it credit for, and I was surprised at times. I was surprised at times in the sense of the writing or maybe some of the story choices, but I was also surprised at times of the casting of how did, like, oh shit, like this actor, oh shit, what's going on here? I had fun. I had more fun than with some of the other action-y movies that we've seen, like more fun than Lumpus Fall Down. I think I had more consistent fun with this movie than Man on Fire, but I think Man on Fire has higher peaks.
I think the main issue with this movie, and this is after my singing its praises, is there's no real antagonist.
No, there's a lot of chasing, but everybody feels
like there's a character that eventually gets set up as like the opposite or like the foil. How is he going to play in? But he's never, most of his scenes, at least, he's never like looking for Ben Affleck. He's not even aware of Ben Affleck at first. By the time he's aware of him, he goes, all right, well, he'll come to us. And so there's no like interplay.
I think... I'm blanking on the actor's name.
Of the villain? John Bernthal?
No, not John Bernthal. The guy who hires John Bernthal.
Oh, my God. John Lithgow.
Yeah. John Lithgow, I think, throughout the movie is kind of set up. Because there's very clearly... So the premise of the movie is that Ben Affleck plays an accountant, but also a hitman.
Mm-hmm. And he's like a money fix. He's like an accountant for cartels and mobs.
Yeah.
So like he does both. Like he fixes your books, he figures out who's robbing you, and then he'll also kill them for you. It seems to be the implication.
Yeah, he seems to be it, and I think this has to do with this constant need to solve problems. Mm-hmm. He's solving problems on paper, mathematically, and that does something for him. He gets gratification, satisfaction out of that. And also, military army dad taught him how to solve problems with violence.
Yeah.
So those are like the two things he really understands are logic-based problem solving and violence-based problem solving. Mm. He never got the emotional support that I think because they have a very powerful scene where another flashback where the mom leaves. And if you remember that scene,
I do.
Yeah, I
smashes little gnome figures.
Yeah, and they do a really great job of setting up the dynamic of the brothers as children of the Ben Affleck's character as a kid. When mom was leaving, he was freaking out, throwing things. I think he kicked a hole in a wall.
And he's like slams a wall. He's smashing these little like precious memories figurines.
Yeah, and then the brother is just staring out the window at the mom, watching her leave, never breaking eye contact, and I think like flips her off at one point.
She looks back one final time, and the other brother flips her off. And that other brother is also like, he doesn't say a word in any of the flashbacks.
No.
And you immediately get he's the younger brother who is sort of taken on. Clearly, he's aware of his older brother, and his older brother is getting all of the attention in the sense that he needs a lot of care.
Yeah.
And so you can't tell if it's animosity or camaraderie. And it's like an intelligent, and it's probably both, because it's an intelligent little back and forth. And in that scene, you're waiting for, at least because the opening scene with the dad is, I'm just going to get him used to the world. He's going to basically tough out his autism, is how it feels like.
Yeah.
But then you're waiting for the dad to come into that room after the mom leaves and hit his son. Like the classic military dad, like, I'm going to beat it out of you, or like teach you to be strong. And instead he like holds him still, kind of like restrains him because he's having a full-on meltdown, and gives him this nursery rhyme and soothes him. And immediately you're like, oh, that's a complex dad. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, like, it's a very real thing. Like, I don't hate my son, or I don't want to, like...
It's not his fault.
Right. But I'm also not going to coddle him, because what I know is the military. So I'm going to force him to face things that's going to make him uncomfortable, but also give him skills.
Yeah.
And it's just, I was surprised at how complex, or at least how nuanced that moment is.
Yeah, this movie plays it very smart in understanding that, because again, it could be, and there is a clear difference between these movies in understanding, but this movie could have played it the way The Predator does, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But this movie has a clear understanding that it's like the condition of autism, being on the autistic spectrum in any way, it's nobody's fault. Like, being born with a condition is nobody's fault. And I think a lot of movies and a lot of media, for the sake of trying to ratchet up tension or antagonism between characters for the sake of drama, they'll try and point blame. And it's nobody's fault. So, and everybody in this movie has a clear understanding of that. So it's about it, the drama and the problems come more so in the wake of Ben Affleck's character, his character's almost like wants, desires, and needs coming into conflict with reality, which is what his dad was trying to prepare him for.
It is. It's interesting because it's not like, oh my God, look at the horrors of autism. The movie is, we put an autistic in a situation. How's he going to solve this one?
Yeah.
But the thrust of the movie is there's like two plot lines. There's Ben Affleck, and then there's this side plot with J.K. Simmons and some FBI agent that goes nowhere.
Is this the second time J.K. Simmons has been in one of the movies that we've watched where we're like, oh yeah.
What else was he in?
Terminator 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar in the sense that it's like you can cut it and the movie doesn't change. Like, the only thing that changes is the runtime. Like,
yeah, but also you lose a great actor.
Sure. Like, Jake, do we just be putting J.K. Simmons in? It's like, run your mouth, J.K.
Well, I mean, he started acting very, I don't want to say late in his life, but he didn't start acting until he was like in his 40s or something.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he started acting very late relative to a lot of people.
What did he do before that?
I really
worked at State Farm.
I really couldn't tell you, but no, it's one of those things where, since he was not an established name yet, even, quote unquote later in his life, seeing him as this older FBI agent, this older internal affairs agent, all these things, he was never given a spotlight because he wasn't a name yet. Not until like Whiplash was he really a name.
He was in like Burn Notice or Burn After Reading and stuff.
I never saw that one. Was that
Coen Brothers?
Coen's? Okay.
He's really good. He's the head of the FBI in that too. Or like, some dude in an FBI office.
But yeah, he's in this movie and he kills every scene he's in, but every scene he's in doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Because one thing we forgot to mention too is like the true opening of this movie is you're hearing gunshots and people getting killed, and like you're following this like shaky cam POV walkthrough of a like dirty project sort of house. It kind of seems like.
I did like the reveal with this scene that they brought back later.
Yeah, but you're like, okay, we're gonna get to that, and then it turns out that is, well, anyway. So Ben Affleck is a hitman. J.K. Simmons, a hitman accountant. J.K. Simmons is an FBI dude who's gonna retire soon. FBI? No, Internal Affairs.
IRS revenue.
IRS.
They're tracking revenue.
Yeah, he's gonna retire soon. He wants to catch this accountant hitman that he's aware of, and so he hires this other woman. I don't know her name, and she's got a sordid past that's gonna play into the movie. Not at all.
No.
Where she was arrested when she was a kid, so J.K. Simmons has dirt on her, so he's like, you and I are gonna go solve who this hitman is. And in reality, they're gonna have about 4 conversations at different points in the movie where you remember they're in the movie, in between Ben Affleck, who, in the real story, has been hired to... Something's wrong with our books. John Lithgow, the soon-to-be villain.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the only name in that room, so you're like, all right.
Something's going on here.
I think they didn't hire John Lithgow to fill in the background. Something's going wrong with John Lithgow's books. Ben Affleck's going to figure it out. Once he figures it out, people start dying because some guy stole $60 million.
He figured out it's like everything wrong with your books can be traced back to this guy. He was moving some numbers around, and like within 24 hours of him figuring it out, that guy dies. Mm-hmm. And John Lithgow says, well, it's over. Regardless of any crimes he did, this guy was my friend, and now he's dead, so I want you gone because, you figured something out.
And in reality, John Bernthal killed him. And John Bernthal, who also pops into this movie, but it's sort of a reverse of the J.K. Simmons, where again, it doesn't feel like it matters, but every time you cut to him, he looks like he's having a great time, and you're like, hey, that's a pretty cool scene.
I love him so much.
There's a scene in this movie where he's leaving an air... Like, every time you see him, he's in this suit.
Yeah.
And then one time they cut to him leaving in an airplane, and he's in like kind of a suit, or no, he's in a puffer. He's got headphones on, and he's got like Versace sunglasses, and he's wearing fucking Jordans or like Dunks. I couldn't remember. It looked like Jordans with the laces popped and stuff. So it looks like he's dripped out, and I'm like, wait, so you're putting on a suit to kill people, but in your day to day, you've just got like Hype Beast merch on. You're just like a fashionista. What the hell? This character's awesome.
That might have just been them. It's like early in the morning before they even started filming. It's like, hey John, we forgot to get this one scene. Like that's just how he dresses.
And he's like, all right, but I'm gonna look cool as hell. Like normal.
I'm not getting in a costume. I'm just.
But John Bernthal, you're in a suit every other movie. I don't care. I don't care at all. Check them J's.
He looked like he was having fun with this. Mm-hmm. He's so charismatic. Mm-hmm. I love everything I've ever seen him in.
You know what I would have done? I would have those two stories together. I would have had J.K. Simmons hire John Bernthal, get rid of this woman that has no relevance. She doesn't connect. At least John Bernthal's character connects.
Yeah.
And then J.K. Simmons can just talk to John Bernthal.
I might remember those scenes better than if it's two really good actors.
Because again, I'm like, I remember J.K. Simmons, but... So anyway, this movie has a lot of flashbacks. And sometimes you're flashing back to... Or most of the time you're flashing back to Ben Affleck as a child, dealing with some aspect of his autism. As he goes through his routine, he's got a very regimented... Like, he only has one set of silverware that he keeps in the same spot. He wears the same shirt when he's at home. It's a sriracha shirt for some reason. I don't know why. It's really distracting to me.
They talked... I think they... Maybe it was the Predator that talked about this, that sometimes it's a fabric thing. Mm. So that could have just been, like, the only t-shirt he could find where the fabric doesn't irritate his skin. But, like, I'm talking about from the costume design perspective. Like, why did they go with... Okay. Like, why sriracha? Sponsorship,
maybe raking in the big bucks from that spicy, but and then at some point we just flash back and he's in prison as an adult.
Oh yeah,
and he's talking to Jeffrey Tambor.
Yeah, wait, I forgot Jeffrey Tambor was in this movie. Holy shit!
And Jeffrey Tambor's just having him remember names and places, and through context, it's clear that it's It's like cartel members. It's like gang members. It's people he's gonna be doing accounting for.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no setup. Jeffrey's just like, no, repeat back to me. And then they go to bed, and then we're just out of that flashback. And I was like, why the fuck was he in prison? Is that when, like, I can't tell how recent that is to, like, when he's a child, he's a child. But it's Ben Affleck now in the flashback.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Was that 10 years ago? Was that last year?
And we never really figure it out. Like, they might give a year, but I can't remember it, and it's not a huge importance.
Jeffrey Tambor is still alive during the events of the actual film, because at one point J.K. Simmons goes to visit him in prison.
No, that's a flashback.
That's another flashback?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Because, and this is where the movie gets confusing, we're going to have to break this down chronologically because of the flashbacks. Ben Affleck was autistic. He was raised by his father, who then took him to, like, him and his brother all over the world to learn martial arts. At one point, we just cut to, like, Jakarta.
Yeah.
And for some
He's reading the Jakarta Daily or whatever.
And they're doing, like, whatever, like, Muay Thai shit or whatever that is. I don't know.
Martial arts. He's learning martial arts.
And the instructor's like, you're going too hard on him. And the dad's basically like, no, the real world's tough. Fight.
Yeah, the guy training the kids, it's both of his sons. The guy training the kids is like, okay, that's enough for today. And the dad's like, what am I paying you for? Beat my children.
And then
I would never lay a hand on my beautiful angels.
And the whole
them.
thing has like a yellowy orange filter, and the set looks weirdly cheap. It looks like something out of like Kickboxer starring Jean-Claude Van Damme or Karate Kid starring whoever. And what's his name? Ralph Macchiato.
Oh, Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, there it is.
The guy who's like 60 and still looks 25.
We've talked about this before, but anyway,
it's crazy.
It doesn't fit. And it's like the Jeffrey Tambor thing where these flashbacks, like when he's a child struggling with autism, sure. When he's just a child in a weird filter, like having a kung fu match, I'm like, what's happening? And then, so his dad did all that for the kids. And then Ben Affleck goes to prison because his real mom who left died. And so the dad and Ben Affleck went to the funeral. Mm-hmm. This is all told out of order.
Yes.
But I've got to do this just so I can figure out the timeline.
I forgot the scene. This is the crux of how he went to jail. This is a very pivotal scene for a lot of emotional thrust. I forgot this scene happened, but I remember it.
At the funeral, they all freak out because the mom's remarried. So then they get in a fight. Ben Affleck starts using his karate. And
just start laying people out at a funeral.
A cop tries to shoot him. And then we're told by J.K. Simmons that the dad gets shot instead. And we don't see the gunshot. We see the aftermath. And then Ben Affleck goes to prison over that. It's unclear why.
Because he started beating people up at a funeral.
But like max security where he's going to like the other dude he's in jail with, Jeffrey Tambor, we find out was an accountant as well for the mob and was like an informant.
You ever seen Con Air in
Yes.
in films? If you're very clearly, if your hands can be registered as lethal weapons,
This serious movie about autism and like the dad nuanced portrayal is Con Air rules.
Yeah, very clearly he is a trained professional. He was in military garb at this funeral.
He didn't join the military though, did he?
The dad and Ben Affleck weren't they both in military garb?
I didn't think he was in they were both in garb. I didn't think Ben Affleck was in the military. I didn't understand why he was in that suit.
I mean, if you're a police officer, if you're arresting somebody and you see somebody in that uniform, you're going to assume trained military professional.
Trained military professionals do not know.
Start beating the shit out of people at a funeral.
They send him to like Supermax with other informants.
They send him to. My brain just crapped out.
So Jeffrey teaches him to be a good accountant. Then Jeffrey gets out of prison, and because he was an informant, he is killed by the mob. So then Ben Affleck breaks out of prison off camera. and goes and kills all the people that killed his best friend Jeffrey.
This one's for you, Jeff.
And in doing so, disappears, but has a run-in with J.K. Simmons, where J.K. Simmons reveals he's a good dad who didn't pay attention to Jeffrey. That's why he has the long hair where he talks to Jeffrey.
Yeah.
But he has kids he cares about. And so then Ben Affleck lets him live. And so then the whole connection to this whole movie has been apparently Ben Affleck, who has a voice on the phone he talks to, a British woman, also feeds J.K. Simmons info. So they're all in on it, where Ben Affleck is an accountant and a hitman, and J.K. Simmons arrests the bad ones. And all of this, everything I've talked about there, is completely irrelevant to the movie, except that his dad is dead.
Yes.
And that's my issue with the movie. There's no antagonist, and the B plot is nonsense. It's like from a different movie.
I do like, so the opening of the movie where it's it is J.K. Simmons' character going into this building and investigating. You know, there was a shootout, lots of bodies. The opening part of the movie, they use lighting in a really smart way to obscure his face. Everything is shot from like the shoulders down. You never see a face. I thought the whole time that was Ben Affleck at some point in the movie. Like, we're going to see where that leads in. You know, we're starting in Medias Res. And I thought, okay, that's going to be Ben Affleck at some point. J.K. Simmons reveals that that's him in the flashback. We see it again, shot with different camera angles, and we see it's J.K. Simmons, a little bit younger. They dyed his mustache, but he's going through, and it turns out the guy slaughtering people in this building was Ben Affleck, and that's where, you know, Ben Affleck sneaks up behind him, gun to the head. They have a conversation.
We see this flashback 3 times in a row.
3 times? I only remember it twice.
Okay, twice in a row.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons has a flashback to it. Then he has a flashback explaining it where the camera's now following him. And then we see it and it's so confusing though, because that means that the opening of the movie was a flash forward to a flashback. Like sometimes the movie opens with like, oh, we're going to end up here. We're not.
No, this already happened before the film starts. Everything that this film has like 3 scenes that are like before the movie starts.
Yeah.
Here's J.K. Simmons, but you don't know that. Here's Ben Affleck as a child, and I think was there a 3rd flashback before we get to?
No.
Okay.
There's just Ben Affleck helping a farmer.
Yes. Oh, and that kind of.
Again, it doesn't really play in. It plays in, and there's thugs that later threaten the farmer. So you think Ben Affleck's like, oh, he's got to help him. How does he help him? He uses a Barrett 50 cal to turn their brain to goo.
He turns their internal organs into external organs.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the issue with this movie is it's told out of order for no real... Like, I get it's told out of order to make it interesting and to have reveals, but it also is obscuring the fact that there's not really a plot.
My biggest gripe is that the best reveal in this movie you could see from a mile away.
That being the John Bernthal.
Yeah.
So finally they decide John Lithgow's the villain. Ben Affleck has to go get him, and John Bernthal is protecting John Lithgow. Because all the roads have led to that. They've killed a couple people. There's been some shootouts. It's been decent. They do one thing that's unforgivable.
What?
J.K. Simmons, eventually they figure out where Ben Affleck's living. They go to his house. They reveal a minigun in his garage, and they do not use it. You don't get to do that.
No, you're right.
If you
like, all these cameras in the backyard, how's he protecting the front of his house with hanging from the ceiling on an articulated arm?
Minigun.
Is a minigun, and a couple of cops are just like, damn, that's crazy, and J.K. Simmons is sending across the garage like, yeah, that'll do it.
Like you're waiting for the shootout at his house.
No, never happened.
No. Ridiculous. So anyway, Ben Affleck goes in to John Lithgow's house. There's some awesome fucking little lines from John Bernthal where like he knows, like they know someone's gonna die because someone goes off the radio comm, and then someone's peeking around a corner. Because John Bernthal's like giving a speech, and then all of a sudden you hear that Barrett 50 cal ring out again, and they know someone's dead. And then he's watching one of his men peek out a corner, and he's just like, You ever see something military grade round traveling at 300 miles a second or whatever? And then just the dude's head blows off and he goes, "No one ever does." And then they all hit the deck. And you're like, yeah.
I was so locked in when John Bernthal was on screen. Even when it was just him like talking to a couple of people, like sitting at a table and talking. There's just like this way, you know how like he does the thing where he'll do like a half smile, look away for a second. You know, he's thinking. There's like mannerisms to him that are so charismatic.
Yeah. And he's really turning it up for this movie because he's the foil eventually to Ben Affleck, who's very like subdued. He's autistic. He has very few external emotions.
Part of Ben Affleck's regiment, his daily, is he will practice overstimulation, which I thought was a really nice touch because you know it's going to be a big action movie. There's going to be flashing lights, loud sounds. So like he'll just like was it a CD player or a radio where he just pressed a button?
I think because it was the same song, so I think it was a CD player.
Okay. It was just like loud music, gunfire. He's got a strobe light in his bedroom, and he just sits there so calmly with one of these like muscle massaging rollers, and he's just like massaging his legs.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely big fan of that. I thought that was very. It's like okay, yeah. He with what he does, it makes sense that he would need to practice this.
Yeah, it makes it because it could also be funny. It would be there's a world where like I was sit in my scream box and you just put on loud noises and lights.
I need to go wind down for the evening
because it's flashing a strobe, screaming music. He does it for 20 minutes and then he takes Zoloft.
Yeah.
So Ben Affleck's murdering dudes. At this point, he's done math to figure out John Lithgow's the bad guy, kind of.
Yeah.
But then you're like, that doesn't really play into the movie. Now he's just shooting people. Like, I guess his power is he's calm in the gunfight, but you don't have to be autistic to be calm in a gunfight. You just have to be desensitized.
Yeah.
And so he's not really using any autism powers. He's kind of just using, like, an assault rifle.
He used his, like, advanced math skills. They basically made it. There's a whole scene when he solves the accounting issue. I can't remember the actress.
It's not Anne Hathaway.
I was gonna say Anne Hathaway.
It's not. It's the other one. She's in Pitch Perfect, I think. Isn't she in Twilight?
Oh my god. I can see your face, but yeah, I can't. But not.
She's there.
Not Kristen Stewart, the other one.
Yeah, not Anne Hathaway. Not Kristen Stewart. Sort of if you split the two.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can see her face. You're right, though. She isn't Pitch Perfect.
She's another woman we could have cut from this movie.
But no, I like her character.
It's fine, yeah.
But basically, she was like, I've been trying to solve like these accounting issues for like a week, and he solves them overnight. He's got like this big red marker in one of those meeting rooms in the middle of a floor that's like glass windows on like every side, and he's just writing over all of them, beautiful minding this shit. He sees the dot, he's connecting the dots, and yeah, like you can say it's like okay with hyperfixation, you know, his special interest, mathematics and stuff. I can see the correlation there, but yeah, like after he's figured it out, he just grabs a gun.
Yeah.
This is you said that like the flashbacks are almost taken from another movie. This feels like a movie of two halves.
Yeah.
But I liked them both. Like yeah, like this it's not a bad movie. I just wish it was a little more coherent.
Yeah, because that's the both halves are fine. You're just like, I don't really understand how A leads to B in this point. Like his dad taught him to be ready for the world and the fight, and I get all that. But then he's the accountant, and like, so what? He just used his skill to be like, all right, I gotta go shoot John Lithgow now. And so he gets into the house, he kills everybody except John Bernthal, because the reveal, he's got this nursery rhyme he says to himself to keep himself calm. I guess that's the autism thing, but again, that could be anyone. That's the John Bernthal himself, when he played the Punisher, had a nursery rhyme he was saying to himself when he was shooting people.
Some of the best casting any comic book adaptation has ever done.
Yeah. Daredevil was good. It's a shame Marvel makes slop garbage.
I'm gonna give the Daredevil Born Again a chance. My issue is they already used the plot of Born Again, so I don't know what the new one's gonna be about.
I don't know. I never saw season 3.
Season 3 uses a lot from Born Again.
Okay. Anyway, John Bernthal realizes this brother we mentioned in numerous flashbacks that we haven't seen again, who I thought was gonna be dead originally when we think that flashback is Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's killing him because they killed his brother. Maybe they got his brother hooked on junk or some shit. No, it was Jeffrey Tambor. He liked Arrested Development. His brother is John Bernthal. And they've both been hitmanning separately.
Yeah, who would have guessed that the two guys trained together on how to kill people would both go into separate fields that both involve killing people?
And they have a big old fight where they don't want to kill each other, and they hash it out as brothers.
It's very good.
It's good, but it's also like it's missing something because Bernthal has not been an antagonist the whole movie. He's been in unrelated scenes that were good, but like he's no connection to Ben Affleck, and then they're like, actually, he does have one, and you're like, oh, okay.
Because the issue is, if they meet or if there's any closer connection to them, you lose that reveal because he would have figured it out earlier.
Yeah. And
if he doesn't figure it out earlier, you're just wondering, why is John Bernthal stupid?
Yeah. So it needed someone else, or Lithgow needed to be a bigger threat or something.
Yeah, there is no catharsis here because the larger kind of actiony antagonist, you know, they have really good emotional scene. They talk it out like brothers. You know, John Bernthal asks, it's like, why the hell did you go to that funeral? You know, the one where the dad died and brother got arrested. And he's like, why the hell did you go to that funeral? She left us. Why did you care? They had a great back and forth.
If you're gonna go, you should have gone with me, not him, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, by the way, I need to kill your boss. And John Bernthal's like, yeah, that's fine. And so he just shoots Jeffrey Tambor. He's like, anyway, brother.
Because I was expecting that I can't let you kill him because I've been hired to protect him. I got to keep my reputation as a mercenary or something like that.
Nah, blood is thicker, man.
But like at least a back and forth. But instead they just kill Lithgow and the movie ends. Not exactly, though. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say there's no catharsis because, like, yeah, we do get the bad guy's dead, but it felt more like a punchline.
It was a punchline. It was literally a punchline. Lithgow says, do you know anything about protecting lives? Everything I do for people with my business, like, you understand? And Ben Affleck goes, yes, and then shoots him. Like, it's a punchline. And then he like, Pratt falls, so he's like, oh, and he falls dead.
What a goofy movie.
And then instead of ending there, like the brothers are gonna reunite. They're like, "Oh, we'll get lunch. One name a time, name a place."
I could name every time and every place. I am a beautiful mind. He basically says like, "I'll find you."
Yeah, and which is whatever. And then we cut back to that therapist from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
now older, with this big log cabin that's even nicer, and you're like, immediately they're talking about some new kid there, a new autistic child, and I'm like, oh, Ben Affleck pays for this, he makes this nicer. But instead the movie's like goes on this long diatribe because it introduces that same woman from the beginning, the same girl that was having the like sensory issue. She's still there. They mention she's a full-time resident. You realize she's the British voice on Ben Affleck's phone because she speaks with this expensive computer that Ben Affleck paid for. But they go on this long thing about how, like, maybe we don't understand. We've been talking about autism the wrong way. Maybe we don't understand. Maybe they'll do great things and we need to find a language to communicate with them. And her son this new autistic child is just lining up dinosaurs. I'm not really sure, like, what they're implying there. Like, other than he likes his toys in a line. Like, does he just know dinosaur names? Because sure. But anyway, it's a really weird speech because, like we were saying, his autism has nothing to do with him killing people. So it's like, maybe they'll find a great way to be the next generation of killers?
Yeah.
He fixes shit for the cartel. This ain't people that like cut off faces and blow people away.
I'm not gonna lie, the second the epilogue started, all I heard was ringing in my ears. I started kind of tuning out I recognized a couple, you know, like, oh, she has the Muhammad Ali puzzle framed in her room now. I completely missed. I knew she was talking with a computer.
Yeah.
I completely missed that was the same British voice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a reveal, and like the whole thing is supposed to like he another reveal is the not Anne Hathaway. He gave her a painting she liked because he saved her life early in the movie.
Yeah.
Again, she's not enough of a character where it's like really like that's closer, but like this therapy house where it's clearly the movie going like, listen, don't stigmatize autism. Maybe it'll like blah blah blah.
When was this movie from?
2016.
Okay.
So it's a fine enough message, but it's not at all coherent with what we just saw 45 minutes of, which was just gunfights. They're like, anyway, autistic people are human, and you're like, yeah, okay, but
Yeah, that would have played better if this was more of a drama.
Yeah.
You know, with, that focused more on the familial strife. If there's more of a relationship between Ben Affleck's character and his brother, with John Bernthal's character, if there's more of a relationship there, and, John Bernthal's character wasn't as understanding of his autism.
yeah. But you know what? Can't harsh him for trying, for caring about it, because this is. Like you said, you felt represented. I felt a little ashamed that I was laughing at it and everything. I was like, you know what? This is a decent movie. And one in the win for autism. Now
2 years later, that win would have been negated.
canceled out
Cancel that out.
by our second movie,
Jesus Christ.
The Predator. Not to be confused with Predator or Predators.
Or
Predator 2.
I know that's what Predator 2 is called. I feel like there was another Predator movie that just had a very nothing name.
There's AVP. There's Alien.
Yeah,
You're thinking of Prey, maybe, but that's after this.
No, because Prey people liked.
It's a good movie. But no, we're talking about 2018's, directed by Shane Black, hot off of Iron Man 3.
He is such a great director, not for this film.
The Predator.
The Predator.
Which is funny because he's in the original.
Yeah. That was it. That was him
They're
coming
like,
full
you
circle.
you can do it, and you're like, are you sure? I think he wrote this as well. He directed The Nice Guys, so he's got a lot of fucking cred with me.
I love The Nice Guy. That's the thing. I also, for all of its faults, I still do really like Iron Man 3. That is like still golden age MCU to me. Where
I remember people getting really mad about it, and I thought it was decent.
people got mad about Iron Man 3 because they brought in Iron Man's biggest villain from the comics, the Mandarin, but he was played by he wasn't played by a Chinese guy, and it turned out the character was a joke, and there was a whole thing about like you made his biggest villain a punchline. They fixed that years later with Shang-Chi, but that's a whole other thing.
I think nerds shouldn't have rights.
Well, no, like I get why people were mad about it, but I had fun because it was a Shane Black buddy comedy.
Yeah, and the Nice Guys is the Shane Black buddy comedy at this point.
Did he do the original Lethal Weapon, or am I thinking of somebody else?
Do you like the original from 19 whatever 18
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah,
That's John McTiernan. No,
and he passed away a couple years ago.
he's still alive. He went to jail for tax evasion.
They were gonna do. I know they were
I might
gonna
be
do.
wrong on the
They,
director.
they were gonna do Lethal Weapon 5, but the director passed away.
Okay, then it wasn't John McTiernan. John McTiernan is live. He directed Predator and
Okay.
Die Hard,
Okay.
like the original good Predator, the good one.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then he went to like jail for tax evasion. But
The Predator.
womp womp.
This movie opens in the dumbest fucking way possible with a space dogfight. Immediately I'm taken out of it because I don't give a shit.
It's trying to the original Predator, which we're going to talk about as a reference point. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's. I mean, if you call yourself the Predator, you're trying to be sort of like the soft reboot. Which I love that movie, by the way. That's one of my favorite movies.
Really?
1987's Predator I love.
It's a great movie.
It is.
It's atmosphere. I would describe like Predator as a franchise. Predator needs atmosphere. Predator 1 and 2 had atmosphere. Predator doesn't.
It does. And yes, it opens because if you remember the original shot of the Predator, or of not the Predator, of the original Predator, is actually Earth, and you see a little blip like a spaceship, like a dot, and it sends something down. And that's it. And that's a great setup because you're like, oh, something has come.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Awesome. And then in this one, yes, it's this overindulgent CGI dogfight thing with like a rip dimension jump, and then you just see the back of a predator typing at his keyboard. He's got a dog, like a predator dog. Next to
It's a
him.
big ugly dog with dreads. Like it just had a predator head on a
Which is not how, like, why is that how that we have dogs. They have fur, but they don't have like my haircut.
No, there is a thing where people say, you know, like, oh, owners and pets start looking, you know, like a pet will start looking like its owner. Like that is a thing.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I just got a haircut, so let me go shave my animal.
That's a...
People with dreadlocks do not have dogs with dreadlocks.
No, you're right. I'm just saying, like, I see what they're trying to do, but it's dumb. The design of that animal is dumb.
Yes. And that's going to set up another running theme in The Predator. This is dumb.
Yeah, the dog fight is dumb because I don't... Was it... Which movie was it that took them to the planet of the Predators?
Predators.
No, that was in the city.
No, that's Predator 2. Predators with Adrian Brody is on the Predator planet.
Yes. I did not like that one.
No, I don't either.
No, so whenever you dive too deep into... It's the same shit with like Prometheus for the Alien franchise. Explaining too much of it isn't interesting.
Lore.
Yeah, so...
Lore ruins a lot of things.
I think it's dependent on if you set something up like Lord of the Rings is heavy on lore.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, give me more. Like I like that juice, but for Predator, no.
No, because the answer, like, there's a ton of things like that. There was actually just an interview with George Miller, director of Mad Max, because Furiosa's coming out.
Who just did Furiosa.
And they asked him, they're like, where in the Mad Max timeline is this? And he said, what? He said, and then I'm not even joking. He said, I made every single one of these movies independently. There is no timeline. There is no, like, you can kind of, like, so it's Furiosa, right? And she's older in Fury Road. So this is before Fury Road. Where does Fury Road take place? Wherever. He's like, I don't care. Every single one is their own story. Watch them, and like, you even see, like in Mad Max 2, the same actors play different people in Mad Max 3. Because he doesn't give a shit.
No.
And it's great.
Mad Max 3 sucks.
Sure, but like I appreciate that where it's just like I'm not making a timeline or a story.
No.
Like I'm making good ass movies. Shut the fuck up.
Fury Road is one of my favorite movies. If we're talking about just like good, solid action movie atmosphere and shit.
I haven't seen it in years. I got to rewatch it.
We'll find a reason to watch that.
I might just rewatch it because I want to see. I'm seeing Furiosa in like 2 days.
Oh, okay.
With my mother.
Interesting choice.
She doesn't go to a lot of movies. My dad will go to anything, but she doesn't go to a lot of movies. But I'm like, it's starring a cool woman
who looks nothing like Charlize Theron.
Maybe in this movie she'll get a horrible face injury where they have to rebuild her eyes closer together instead of wide, far apart, like she's some sort of prey animal.
She does have that like innocent, and that's her marketability. She has that innocent kind of doughy eyed, so when she plays characters like in The Menu
or in The Witch.
Was she in The Witch? I haven't seen it.
She's the main.
Okay.
She's actually did interviews too, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Where every time she's asked to cry in a movie, instead she gives a different option. Because like in The Northman, have you seen The Northman?
No.
They like wanted her to do. She's like, I'm not doing this romance scene. She's like, if this was a Viking shit, she would take her period blood and smear it on her face. And she does that in the movie, and that's the romance scene. She's like, dips her hand in there, and she's like, yeah. And Skarsgård is like, let's roll, crazy bitch.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so like in The Menu,
yeah.
when she realizes they're gonna die, and he knew, and she jumps across the table at him, she was supposed to cry in that scene. She's like, I wouldn't cry here, I'd flip the fuck out at him. And the director's like, go for it.
Hell yeah.
So anyway.
She's so cool.
The Predator, on the other hand, is not cool. The movie. The concept of The Predator, dope as fuck.
How do you fuck it up?
You fuck it up by showing it immediately and all the time in the whole movie, just in bright lighting.
The last place I ever wanted, I never want I think an entity shrouded in mystery, you know, not even from Earth, alien, predator, the thing. I never want them in the same environments I would find Michael Myers. white fucking suburbia. Like, if I can look at a tree and think, is there a predator or is there a man wearing a Nixon mask behind that tree?
Shatner.
Was it a Shatner mask?
Myers was wearing Shatner.
Sure.
Nixon mask would be a very different movie. This jowly monster.
With a big fake rubber nose.
God, Futurama's great. Anyway. No, you're right. I don't want to just say blanket no to any scenario.
Okay.
However, it would be very low on my list. And like you're saying, like I agree with you 100%. Like this is not where the idea excels unless you've got some really awesome gimmick that I can't think of. This movie didn't have that.
No.
This movie had the thing I don't like is when science has captured it, secretly has a whole lab and knows all the answers. And this movie does both of those.
Yeah.
Predators in the suburbs, but there's also a secret military base where we're just studying predator shit, and we've been studying it for 30 years.
I didn't mind those scenes because, again, talking about like how John Bernthal just eats up scenes, Sterling K. Brown eats up scenes in this movie.
He does, but he also doesn't fit the movie.
No, he feels like he's in another movie, but he's the only guy having fun.
Yes, but he's like the head of the secret Starfield base or whatever, Starfinder, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
They hunt predators, or like they hunt predator objects. And he just like is like, fuck yeah, let's go. He's like just running around. And he has no, I can't figure out what his character is. Like, is he a general?
He's cool.
He's cool.
He's cool.
If he's so cool, why does...
He kicked ass into being in charge of the Starfinder program because he's like, aliens are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And he found an alien and he's just like, that thing's cool as hell. Kill it. I would do the same thing.
I mean, fair, but that's also why you're not in charge of $1 billion.
I could be.
You could be?
I could be.
Okay.
If I play my cards right.
Uh-huh. My first order of business in charge of Object Stargazer is Skylanders needs to come back.
Make them cool and real so I can hunt them for sport.
Build me a Spyro.
No, if I was in charge...
dogs purple.
No, if I was in charge of $1 gajillion like that, I'd make Transformers real for other reasons.
Okay, step 1 is make them real. Step 2 is classified. I'm the only one with access. It's like the nuclear football, and you tear it open and it just says, bang the robots. They just put 2 in your back of your head after reading that. But yeah, the Predator, it crashes, and our lead actor, who is not Joel Kinnaman...
No, he was the bad guy in Logan. With the robot arm?
That's why I know him. So he's actually a decent actor.
Yeah, I think he was in Suicide Squad as well. I think he...
No, you're thinking of Joel Kinnaman.
As Flag? As
Yes,
Captain Flag?
yes.
I was watching this movie like, that's Flag from...
No.
Okay.
Set you up. I knew it. I knew everyone looks at this dude and thinks he's Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, no, but he's also in Logan, which that one's real.
Yes, and I recognize him the second you said that. He's got the robot hand and everything.
That scene where the fingers like flip back and flip up, that scene still looks cool. That shot looks cool as fuck. I still love
I wish
that.
we were watching that movie instead. It came out 2017, the year before this garbage.
We need to find an excuse to watch cool old man westerns. Final Ride old man westerns.
James Mangold directed Logan, and he went on to direct that newest Indiana Jones.
I saw that one.
I haven't, because it sounds awful.
It's about an hour of a good Indiana Jones movie and then an hour of a bad Doctor Who episode.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's not a sell.
Because an hour of a good Indiana Jones movie is 2/3 of an Indiana Jones movie. Those shit should be over in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, we've really just dovetailed.
We don't want to talk about the Predator.
it's just he sees the Predator land. He steals a Predator mask
and in a gauntlet
and an orb.
In an orb that may. It turns out that the invisible technology of the Predator is orb.
It's an orb, and if you have it, you can turn invisible, and if you swallow it, no one knows.
And if you swallow it for some reason, it's still on your person. Why doesn't he turn invisible until he shits it out?
This is a stupid movie, that's why.
The plot said so.
So anyway, he's a military dude who's estranged from his wife and kid. So he ships his kid a Predator mask.
No, he ships it to a P.O. box.
And he hasn't paid for the P.O. box, so it goes to the kid's house.
And the guy who is like, "Hey kid, where's your dad? He hasn't paid for his P.O. box." That guy played Optimus Primal in the original. His name is Gary Chalk. And he was Optimus Prime in the Energon trilogy.
Woo!
Hey, this is important to me.
Does that mean Transformers Cybertron?
Yeah.
Then I like it.
It's
a legitimate woo.
Okay, yeah. No, that's Gary Chalk.
Hell yes.
I saw him and I was like, I shouldn't be seeing you. I should be hearing you.
Turn into a car.
You should be heard and not seen, sir.
Get in the VO booth. I don't want to pretend people are real.
No, it was just for a brief moment. I had a spark of joy watching this movie because it was Gary Chalk.
Yeah, that was like me thinking about substitute teacher Key and Peele skits when he shows up.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so anyway, not Joel Kinnaman, the army dude. He sees a predator. So the military that's about seeing predators says we got to kidnap him and we got to interrogate him. He doesn't give them any info, so they ship him off to prison to cover up all that. They're like, they're shipping him off to cover up that any aliens are real. And he meets the colorful cast of characters that are trying to simulate the original Predator cast, which are just all ex-military rejects who have gone crazy for some reason or another.
Yeah. It feels also very, maybe that's why I was thinking Suicide Squad, because it felt like he was leading a Suicide Squad.
And it's just the original Predator, that scene in the helicopter that's fucking awesome.
It's very, the Expendables, the Losers.
I don't know the Losers.
The Losers is also a comic adaptation starring like Chris Evans and stuff, but it's like the B team, we'll send in the guys that don't matter to fix this.
And so they sort of become heroes by circumstance because a predator escapes and everyone sees him. They all share their reasons for being crazy. They've all done things in the army that have made them go nuts. I don't really remember them.
Keegan-Michael Key shot up or
did friendly fire
on
accident because something happened.
Thomas Jane
has Tourette's,
which apparently I when I first saw it I was like, that's a weird choice to give Thomas Jane Tourette's. Shane Black has Tourette's and he's like, I just wanted to see representation of myself.
Interesting. Well, there's better representation of that than there is of autism.
Yeah.
Because we haven't got this. So he's got his crazy team. Anyway.
Yeah.
His child, this is now the B plot, is autistic.
Mm-hmm.
And that means he can understand predator technology. Which means he puts on a helmet that's way too big for him.
Duct tapes it around his fucking head.
And just can immediately start seeing things. And he understands it all. And this is, again, that lore shit. I don't care what those fucking words say. I don't care what the helmet does. He puts it on and sees heat vision to hunt people.
Yeah, 100%. Too much went into explaining why they do it. I don't care why they. The base plot of Predator is it hunts.
Yes.
And that's all I need.
Yes. And
why is it killing? Because it likes killing.
And it has there's no thrill of the game in killing children or the unarmed woman in the original one. So he wants to fight fighters.
Yeah.
That's the whole fucking base of the original. This one, there's okay, this predator is a rogue predator. He's coming to humanity to give us a weapon because the earth is dying and predators know that, so they need to hunt us as quick as possible because they want to hunt our best fighters to take our spinal fluid to then inject it into themselves and make themselves better. And the one they actually secretly want is the autistic child because that's the next step of evolution. Who could give a fuck shit goddamn?
It is such a... Because when I think it was Sterling who was talking about this. Global warming is heating up the planet. We know from the movie Predators with Adrian Brody, they live on a jungle planet. So when the Earth starts hotboxing itself with ozone emissions, they'll have a place to just move on in when we start dying. But they want, our best and brightest.
Which is so fucking stupid. Like, this is something I hate. When a character is something, and so then his whole race is something. Like, the Predator race...
Yeah.
It was one alien.
Yeah.
Hunted. This guy was a hunter. Are they all hunters? I don't care.
Who makes the bread? Who are the homemakers?
Well, show me the gatherer.
Exactly. Who gets the berries into the jungle planet?
And I don't even care. I'm asking those questions, but I actually don't care. I just think it's stupid that it's just exactly the same. And then the new Predator lands, and he kills the old Predator, because why not?
And he's like 3 feet taller now.
I think they say he's 11 feet.
11 feet, yeah.
And he doesn't have any gear because his skin can turn invisible, and it can, like, absorb bullets and shit.
The thing that I hated so much was when they're like, do you see that? It's got exo armor under its skin. If it's under, that's not exo.
It's so stupid.
Like, even just like small language things like that, this film just doesn't understand. It's so...
And it's just... There's a couple little references to the original. I don't care. Every time there's a bunch of motorcycles, so they say, get to the choppers. Instead of get to the chopper. Yeah. The only time I'm enjoying this movie, actually, is when the main dude and the army dudes are, like, talking to each other. They're, like, not terrible chemistry.
No, they're hanging out. Yeah, just talking. It is kind of it's kind of frat boy energy, because like there's she played Psylocke in
Olivia Munn?
Yeah.
Is that her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Olivia Munn is the
lead scientist.
Yeah, she's the lead scientist in this movie. And they do make it a point, like they have to like knock her out or something.
She tranks herself.
Okay.
Because she's trying to trank the Predator.
Yeah.
And it's like the super trank, so she's like out for like a day.
And they're not, and like all these like quote unquote like crazy military guys, they're not being creepy about it. They're like, we want to make her comfortable. I'll make her some tea. And they put like a cup of tea by her on the bed. They're like doing all these things.
They surround her with like offerings that the best they know. And there's like a little bit of like, she's a girl. So they like put candies and a unicorn next to her. But it's like charming in the sense that they are all shown, like one has Tourette's, one is like Bible crazy, but he's also like he's like constantly they call him Nettles. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because the pill rattle, like that later on, they had pills to represent him. So, and he mentions medication multiple times.
Yeah.
So like clearly he's like needs, but anyway, they're all trying to be nice, and that makes them likable.
Yeah. And
you're going through the whole movie, and no one's really dying in this movie. Big Predator kills Little Predator. They shoot out with Predator dogs in a bland action scene full of CGI slop.
Out in the middle of the road, there's no interesting cinematography. They don't do anything.
It's just a football field. It's next to the road.
Oh my God, you're right.
And it's all just CGI, so the actors just lay in a green field and shoot. And it's like there's no energy, there's no... you're just thinking about that original Predator scenes of them shooting in the forest, not knowing stuff. Like the effort they put into that original Predator movie. They went to the jungle, right?
Yeah.
And it's super dense. And I remember there's this interview with the director, and he said it was actually so dense you couldn't see anything. And you want that depth of the jungle to see how deep it is. So we would hack out portions of the jungle so that we could start seeing the layers. So like every scene is not just them filming in trees. They would find trees, create depth by just bushwhacking to make them, and then film. So like the effort they're putting in just to have a tree background so it doesn't look flat. And now I'm watching a dude lay on a CGI dog shooting. And then... Sterling K. Brown and not Joel Kinnaman are at odds because they both want the autistic child. One because it's his son, the other because we can speak Predator. And they hunt back and forth. And then we all build to finally a confrontation with Big Predator, who wants just the shit. It's just Predator tech that's on the ground. He wants it.
Yeah, after a certain point, it isn't even about, like, I need the spinal fluid of the autistic child. Maybe that's how these movies connect a little bit better. Halfway through the movie, the A-plot of autism isn't the A-plot anymore.
No, they're just like, whatever. At
We
least an
lost
accountant, the fight's cool.
Yeah, we lost the thread.
So now it's a CGI muck monster. And these dudes talking about how they're going to save his son. And then there's a moment where they're like, oh, we don't want to. And then they're like, let's do it. None of the emotion are landing.
No.
And so then they got to go fight Predator, who has no Predator gear and is just a big monster. And it doesn't look at all like the Predator. And it does nothing that's like the Predator. And then it talks into a universal translator. And so now the Predator speaks English. That's dumb as shit.
That's so fucking dumb.
Everything is dumb. Every decision about the Predator in this movie is dumb. And I don't have another way to describe it.
I mentioned at the top of this that Shane Black is a great, writer, director. I like a lot of other things that he's done. He just did not fit this. All of his, like you said, the best parts of the movies are when people are talking to each other. He is great at writing dialogue between men. He's great at writing, two bros, kind of buddy dialogue, before the shootout. He is great at writing that, at directing that.
Yeah, he's good at idiots and goons going through adventures.
Yeah, this isn't
it.
Yeah, there's no atmosphere. Everything is CGI or suburbs, and neither of those are an interesting backdrop for...
This movie takes place on Halloween.
Yeah.
This is I probably wouldn't have liked it, but at least it would have been creative. There is not a scene where the Predator walks down the street and people go, whoa, nice costume, dude, that's crazy. And then he analyzes them, and because they're children, he doesn't kill them because there's no honor in that. That's more creative than anything in this movie, which is just like it takes place on Halloween. How does that play in? Not at all.
He's able to walk around with the Predator mask, the kid.
The kid puts it on as a costume.
Yeah. Because he doesn't want to be Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. And he's wearing the arm guard, or like the laser turret.
Yeah.
And it shoots a dude. It kills a man.
Oh, yeah. There's a little like rocket thing that pops out of the side of the helmet, turns around. Yeah.
It kills a man who throws a beer at him.
Because he's hanging out with his bullies.
And
that was a weird scene, but
weird.
A guy died.
And the house blows up, and you're like, okay.
That was cool.
And then Sterling K. Brown is the arch nemesis of the main character, but they have to work together to kill the Predator, the big one. And they look at each other and they go, after this is over, you were willing to kill my son or like kidnap my son, blah blah. Like we're gonna you and I are gonna dance, I think he says. And like Sterling's like, I already got my shoes picked out. And then they don't ever fight again. They don't ever interact again.
No.
Because he dies fighting the Predator. Sterling does. But he doesn't die in a way that's cathartic. And he's the villain of the movie outside of the Predator. He's the one kidnapping these dudes and sending them to jail. And he just accidentally kills himself because he puts on a Predator shoulder cannon. He looks to the left and fires the cannon, and it blows his own head off.
That's so dumb.
And so then just the characters that we've gone through this whole movie talking decide to start sacrificing themselves for no real reason. The movie wants that dramatic sacrifice and those dudes dying of the original, but it's not set up or paying off. It's another like zero catharsis. So it's just like characters just start dying for no reason.
Oh no, not yeah. I remember specifically when they were up because the Predator's trying to get away. So I think 3 of the dudes make it onto the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts, it puts this like bubble shield around its ship, and like 2 of the dudes get down quick enough. One guy doesn't, so he just gets cut in half by this shield, and it's like, oh, that sucks for that guy. There he goes, and like his upper half is tumbling out into the atmosphere.
But like he dies for no reason though, because he has plenty of time to duck, and we see the other one duck and one jump over it, and he just doesn't do either. And it's supposed to be like he's frozen, but like, why? Just because he has to die. And then the other one throws himself into the engine.
That was cool. That was a cool death.
It's the only cool death in the movie. Because every other death is like Thomas Jane just goes, I'm going to jump. Like, he lights the Predator on fire and then just jumps on and starts stabbing him. But they have 9 dudes shooting him.
You don't need to... Okay. I do like the death of the first Predator, though, when the new, like, alpha Predator rips his head off with the spine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that classic Predator is like, oh, that's cool. They're doing it to each other. I don't care that he's a traitor or whatever. I just like the idea of a new alpha Predator that hunts other predators.
Sure. That's closer to a movie I'd watch than this.
It's so unfortunate because this was probably, okay, that's not fair. I was about to say this was, Predator's last chance to really make a statement after, 30 years, because it's been so long. They had like Predators and the AVP movies, which were mid as hell. They haven't really had a good one, but Prey was received really well. They're doing a Prey 2.
Prey's great. You haven't seen it?
No.
It's good.
Because the last few I was disappointed with the last few movies the Predator was in. So.
Yeah. No, Prey's a good time because it's set in like 1700s. Totally removed from...
It's like Native American stuff, right?
Yeah. And it's got cool ways that it plays around with things like that. Like they talk about Thunderbirds and stuff like that. And so then when someone sees that ship streaking across the sky, they rationalize it as seeing a Thunderbird, not as seeing an alien. So it's like a cryptid to them almost.
That's cool.
And then it starts killing motherfuckers.
And that's what I want. We talked about this. Just send the Predator at any point in time to Earth and just kill people in that. I want to see Arthurian knights.
Yeah.
Cut down.
That's awesome sounding. Holy shit.
Imagine Vikings and the Predator.
I'm still like a Camelot ass, just like a classic knight ass knight.
Yeah.
And this fucker is walking in. Oh my God. Do it up.
There are so many cool, like you could do you could do like Shaka Zulu, like Predator versus Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu's like, his like battle tactics and stuff.
Yeah.
Like surrounding the Predator. And the thing is, all these are great prequel ideas because the Predator learning about the history of combat on Earth and all these great warriors and all these great people who had like battle tactics and stuff. Every time they can just take that back to their homeworld and it's just like, we got a cool new thing.
And also, it's just like we were talking about, lore don't matter. I don't care.
I don't care.
Put the Predator in a space.
Send the Predator to Atlantis.
Sure, I'd watch it. We're underwater. Oh, shit. You know what's crazier than underwater? 7-foot spaceman.
Give it like fins on the arms and legs and make it a real good swimmer. A Predator with gills is terrifying. Imagine Jaws, but it's the Predator.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Now we know what happened to that submersible.
The one that had the Logitech gaming controller? Yeah.
It turns out it was a Predator. Predator fucking up a submarine is actually sick.
Predator onto the Titanic. That's sick. No iceberg.
That's sick.
A laser cut it in half.
Or even just it's an iceberg. It's unrelated. Like, holy shit, the ship's going down. There's a what?
The Hindenburg went down because of what?
That's all. Predator in 1967. He gets like punched in the laser, and then like JFK just unrelated.
In the Predator in the second story of a book depository. We got a grassy knoll Predator. The
Predator's tracking his prey, looking at this. He's like, "Oh, there's an interesting play happening," and then just a man in a top hat. John Wilkes is like, "I didn't do it. It was an 8-foot alien with dreadlocks."
John Wilkes was like up there at the time. That's why he jumped out of it. He was like, "Oh fuck, there's an alien!" John Wilkes Booth jumps.
Every historical moment there should be a Predator. I don't
with camo tech, he could already be there. We don't know
exactly. And it's like, where did he come from? Space. What's he doing? Killing.
Send him to like early 1900s Europe, and the end of the movie is he kills Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Starting World War One.
He's just running around in like Peaky Blinders times.
Oh my God, Cillian Murphy getting his boys to fuck up a predator.
There is not a single moment that's not awesome. Imagine one of those fucking World War II dogfights, and then just like a Nazi looks at the wing of his plane, and there's just a predator running at him, jumping from biplane to biplane. There's so many better movies than this one, in both real life and my mind.
You're watching the predator. You close your eyes. You start envisioning like samurai trying to die with honor, meeting a predator out in the rain.
Oh my goodness.
And like you see the samurai with his sword, all you see is the rain collecting on the head and shoulders of an invisible predator.
You're really fucking cooking with gas here. He draws his sword, the predator, with the arm blades.
Yeah.
Catching the sword, snapping it in half, kill a samurai.
The samurai like unbuckles his armor. The predator decloaks and takes off his like wrist cannon.
Hell yes. Imagine, what the hell? You're a peasant just toiling in the rice fields in Japan, and then a laser blast blows up your house. That's the thing, is every single one of these movies would make money. I don't know that it would make the most money. And like Prey went to Hulu and theater. I saw it on Hulu because it was like during COVID and shit.
I saw it, or I see it on Hulu. I don't.
But
it was the biggest movie premiere on Hulu ever.
Great. I'd watch this every time. It would be the same story every fucking time, and just the year shifts.
Yeah, put him in the Caribbean during pirate times.
Oh shit. It's awesome. That's so fucking cool. Big old fucking Captain Blackbeard pirate ass ship, and he looks to, he's like, "Yar, there be a big ass alien."
The siren song.
Like climbing up rigging and shit. They need to make more pirate movies. I haven't seen Master and Commander yet. I gotta see it.
My dad fucking loves Master and Commander. It's like his favorite movie.
Every dad does.
It's his favorite movie.
Oh, you know what's not my favorite movie?
The Predator.
Yeah, either of these really.
Really? The Accountant doesn't make it into the top 5?
No, but the original Predator might. I'm not even fucking with you. I love that movie.
Let us know in the comments or email us at kafmpodcast@google where you would put the Predator in a movie.
Yes, give us more ideas, and then just text them to whoever makes these movies. Text them, tweet at them, send mail to whoever makes these movies. Care of KAFM.
I don't even remember the studio. It's not Fox.
Legendary?
Might be Legendary.
It might be. They make a lot of garbage over at Legendary.
I'd have to.
Or like movies that are almost good.
It's definitely like a logo I recognize. It looks almost like a coin, kind of the shape of their logo.
And every time it pops up, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen it before, but I can't think of a single one of their movies, which is unfortunate.
Have you seen Godzilla 2014?
Yeah.
Have you seen Godzilla King of Monsters?
Yeah. Are those Legendary?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the U.S. Godzilla movies.
The Western Godzilla's all right.
Yeah.
Kong Skull Island?
Yeah. It's all... Because Godzilla Kong and Godzilla Kong 2 are both.
Aren't they doing a show on Max or something based around the...
There's currently a show on Apple TV.
Apple TV that's around like the government butterfly monarch.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a dumb fucking idea. Lore is ruining the big cool things.
Apparently it's good because it's got Kurt Russell in it. And his son.
Oh yeah, I think I did see that like his son plays a younger version of himself. Wyatt plays
because it's jumping between like 70s and present or some shit.
And that's such a cool fucking idea, wasted on expanding the lore to Big Lizard ate Tokyo.
You got me. I could run my mouth about some Godzillas.
Wait until we get a Godzilla on the show.
Okay.
Any closing thoughts on The Accountant or The Predator?
If autism is the next stage in evolution, I'm a creationist.
You can find us at Letterboxd. John, you can find at Batch Moves. He's also that on the Twitters.
There may be an underscore somewhere in there.
I think I have like one scheduled to go up this Saturday when the new episode
You can
drops.
schedule tweets.
You can schedule tweets.
That's what a world.
I'm I'm also on Twitch where I play video games.
Yeah, what are you playing next week?
Next week we're playing more Kingdom Hearts Final Mix.
Cut the feed.